winning.
I've outsmarted you on a number of levels.
Beta. Well, actually, King's not. Beta.
That was a hot mess inside a dumpster fire, inside a train wreck.
Keep your mouth shut. I'm going to go in there and slap your face.
You know, we're going to rise like the Phoenix. And
Get in my limousine. Ride on 85. Get in my Learjet. Woo!
Woo! You're here with the king himself. Whew, big week coming up. Draft weekend. Next weekend is going to be unbelievable, folks. I can't wait. I'm sure everybody in the league is just super excited as I am. First, let me just give a quick nod and shout out to Pennington Distillery. They are invading North Carolina right now. And let me tell you, if you see the Davidson Reserve 4 grain on the shelves anywhere, buy it. Buy it by the caseload. My prediction that in a few years, it's going to be the next Eagle Rare, McKenna 10-year, that bottle that you've seen on the shelves countless times, and then all of a sudden, it's poof, it is gone. So yeah, buy it up all you can right now. It is delicious. The taste pops. Probably one of the best new whiskeys I've had out there lately. So don't hesitate, go get some. All right, guys. I think we all know what is coming up. That's going to be the 20th Ashland Cup fantasy draft. Unbelievable. Going to be in Greensboro. Going to be at Grandover. Whew. The lights, the cameras, the action is going to be intense. And, I'm looking forward to seeing all the guys and seeing who's a blow it by the second round. The King is flying solo today. The Nate Gate is off in Denmark right now, actually, scouting sleepers as we speak. And you should find a few of them. I think marijuana is legal over there. But getting back to the draft, we're looking forward to it. The draft order goes Grizz at 1, Nate Gate at 2, Oracle at 3, LTD at 4, Tuna at 5, Drill at 6, the Magic Man at 7, and Gatos at 8, Huza at 9, Sleeper at 10, Goal at 11, and the King himself batting cleanup at 12. And I can't wait because it is going to be just raining gold, man. Amazing players coming to me like at 12 and 13. Whew, can't wait. I probably will need to call a timeout because I'm sure the league will blow it as usual, and I'll be staring at 3 or 4 guys that I would kill to have on my team. So I need to have to make that decision. But kind of looking at the draft order right now, it's going to be very interesting, especially at the back end of the draft. It's kind of a murderer's row if you look at it. Starting at 8, Gatos, 5 championships. Huza, nothing. Sleeper, 5 championships. Gold, 2 championships. The King, 2 championships. I mean, it is that's championship corner and Huza. I mean, all day long. It's going to be very interesting. A lot of snaking going to be happening there at the back end. Some guys probably like that. Top of the draft, Grizz is going to be starting off. I mean, I think we all know he's going Jonathan Taylor on that, and that's a smart pick. That's a safe pick, and I don't think anyone's going to argue. A lot of people are having C-Mac at number 1 overall right now. I would love to put C-Mac at number 1. I think potentially if he stays healthy, yeah, I think he's a number 1 running back, but he's been hurt the past 2 years. I think that's just crazy to me that he's being put over Jonathan Taylor, who had a monster year last year. I think an upgrade at QB with Matt Ryan, solid offensive line. I mean, how can you not pick Jonathan Taylor? So that's going to be really interesting. At the top, with then followed up with Nate Gate. That the second pick is going to be interesting to me, whether he goes C-Mac or not. I should say. First one's already written in the books, but then you got Oracle. Last year, I thought Oracle turned it around in his draft. Finally, just got bit by the injury bug. I think like that night of, actually, whenever J.K. Dobbins went down. And then followed up by a few more injuries. LTD, two-time champion himself. Unbelievable. He will be there just making moves. I would not want to be drafting around LTD. He finds some like unbelievable value in the middle of the draft, and I don't even understand it. Like he's really good with that. Got Tuna. Tuna's got a chip. I mean, a single chip, but it's a chip. I mean, you got Drill, Magic, at middle of the draft. I'll say this: the whole league is tightening up as far as getting better, and then you got Huza, but I think everybody else is doing really well, and it's going to be for the 20th year. I think I might, if I have to make a prediction, I think we're going to see a new champion this year. No repeats, no 6-time champions from the evil empire of Gatos and Sleeper. None of that. So I think it will be a fun draft. I'm looking forward to it. Drill's done a great job putting together, but a little bit more on that later on. So yeah, it's gonna be awesome. And I know a lot of people are thinking like we're just gonna be talking about fantasy football this pod, but actually we have a special guest coming up, our NFL expert. I'm going to keep that in the secret who that is, but he'll be joining the pod. We're going to talk a little AFC football, real football, believe it or not, and it does have fantasy implications. I mean, fantasy's fantasy. It still has like some logical and parallels with real football. So it will be nice chatting it up with our NFL expert and see what his thoughts are. While we're talking, I'd like to actually give a shout out to Sleeper himself. He actually went on a deep dive with finding some information. Now, I know Sleeper's like sitting up in his chair listening, thinking we're going to dig into it. Haven't yet gotten a chance to review some of those files. Some of the league history. I know like Sleeper was really interested in finding out what draft spot has the most championships, who has the least, who has none, and stuff like that. I think I actually found that kind of interesting. It's just unfortunate that the Nate Gate and the King has been like super busy lately. But we've been, we're trying to get a pod out there every once in a while. So even if it's by yourself. So we're going to chop that up sometime, and we'll do a special pod on like kind of the information Sleeper provided for us. But big shout out to him for that. I'm actually looking forward to digging in. But for right now, let's go turn it over to our NFL expert and see what he's got to say. Well, it's about time for our special guest, our NFL expert, to join the show.
All right, let's rock. Woo! What time is it?
Oh,
it's Grizz time.
It's Grizz time. I love it. Oh, man.
Here for your viewing pleasure. Cash money for everybody.
Making it
NFL
rain.
season is here.
Oh,
all right.
That's right.
I get drill fired up. I know it makes the balls tingle right there.
Woo, he's probably like half into a half gallon of Fireball right now watching this.
Oh, it's even better. Diet ginger ale.
Drink of champions right there, dude.
How we feeling this year? You guys ready for some football?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think down here in Panther Nation, we're really excited. There's some nerves about like new quarterbacks and coaches on the hot seat, but I think we're all pretty excited to get this thing going. How about in the Chicagoland, dude?
So we just wanted to get through the season somewhat healthy and not finish last. Beat the Lions, and they're not going to beat Green Bay. So I was talking to my buddies about football this other day, and about the Bears particularly. And I said, if the Bears went 8-8, that'd be like winning the Super Bowl. And that's not a good thing.
I mean, I think 8-8 might be a little stretch for you guys.
I think if they win 5 games, it'd be fabulous. But like I said, 8-8 would be like winning the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, let's get into some more NFL talk and start talking about a little, divisions and who we like and who we don't like. How's that sound?
Yeah, we can get a little bit of fantasy in there. You can kind of choose and kind of decipher how we'll throw things around in here. But there's a lot of football to talk about because the first preseason game is already taken away. And there's been a few players that have already taken off and some new starters. Zach Wilson's hurt from the Jets. And, the Bears play tomorrow night. And then the second preseason game is really big. And some more things will happen. And I think the third preseason game is kind of a wash. Nobody really cares about that. But we get into some division talk. I would like to probably start talking about the AFC division as a whole. We can start with the North, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. For those that don't know, who's that includes the Bengals, the Browns, Steelers, and Ravens.
It's a pretty solid division. It's been that way for the last 10 years, I feel. But, the oddest thing is, the elephant in the room is Deshaun Watson. And nobody knows. He's been out for 2 years. And I don't trust the Browns. I like their team as a whole. It's the same thing with the Steelers. They got Mitch Trubisky. He has been reported to not been looking very good in the preseason or the mini camp, I guess you could say. But he looked good the first game. But there's not a lot you can take into the preseason. But I think the Bengals will be fine. I think the shocker. I think the Ravens are solid, even though they lack a good receiving core and their running backs have been hurt. But I think John Harbaugh is probably the best coach in the league. I was looking at that division, and I think the Browns and Steelers are going to be at the bottom of the barrel. And I think it's going to be the Bengals and the Ravens at the top. And if I had to pick a division winner right now, I'd probably be leaning towards the Bengals just because of what they did last year. But people have to remember they kind of shocked people last year. If they did that again this year, I think it'd be really shocking. And consistency in the NFL is a very hard thing. So if I was going to pick a team, as a whole, like my gut feeling, I would say the Ravens. I think they're solid everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, both the Ravens and the Bengals are solid teams. Bengals made the Super Bowl last year, had a great run. And one thing I thought that I liked the Bengals did was they addressed their weakness. And it was obviously the offensive line. They were pretty bad there.
Oh, yeah.
And so they brought in some guys. And I think they're gonna that unit as a whole is gonna improve, and so that's gonna be really interesting to see how like the Bengals do, not just in division but in the whole AFC.
I agree with that. I mean, that division, they're one team. Like actually, I would say if Lamar Jackson got hurt, I still think the Ravens could be good. I think their backup quarterback last year proved to not skip a beat, really. And talk about contract talks with Lamar Jackson. I would just get rid of him.
That's right.
I mean, you could probably get 2-3 first-round draft picks for him, and I think that's why the Ravens have not rushed to give him a new contract. Now, I would say if the Bengals lost Joe Burrow, they're done.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to replace Joe Burrow anyway, but yeah, I don't know if they even have anyone behind them. It could be Big Nasty back there at quarterback for all I know.
But nobody in that scares me, but I mean, the Bengals and the Ravens are both good football teams. There's really not an awful team in that division, so they're probably that division's probably in the top 3 or 4 at least in the whole NFL.
I agree. I agree. Let's move on to another division. Pick your poison. East, South, West.
Oh God, I forget what the Bills, Jets, Fins, Pats. That is the East.
East.
Yeah.
Yes. Very forgettable division.
That's another awkward division. There's a bunch of new looks other than the Bills, and it's awkward because the Bills are on top, I guess, you know.
Oh yeah.
Not trying to hate, but I mean the Bills have not been very good the last 20 years, and now they are.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess like last year, and this coming into this year, I mean, they are, I mean, heck, they're favorites for the division, but I mean, they're up there in the whole AFC. I mean, that's pretty impressive for the Bills.
The Bills are really good. They're solid everywhere, but where I think their biggest issue is running the football. They were, I think, last year the third most passing team in the NFL. And what was interesting in the NFL draft, they drafted what's his name, Cook's younger brother, Dalvin Cook's younger brother,
James Cook.
James Cook. And James Cook is a little bit of a multi-tool. He's more of a receiving tailback. So I think you'll see a lot more of him than you think. I think the guy that make it cut is I think it's Moss. Zach Moss and Singletary. So I think Zach Moss could be on the chopping block, and don't be surprised if the Bills. I think if they bring in another running back, somebody gets cut.
It's kind of interesting with the Bills, and I'm not trying to bash on the Bills too much here because they do have like a really good team and are probably favorites in the whole AFC maybe. But it's weird to me that like in a league where running backs are a dime a dozen, it seems they can't find one, hit one if they're in a boat in the ocean trying to hit water. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, maybe it'll be this year. And, they have, in my opinion, the oddest player in the league, which is Gabriel Davis. And we all saw what he did last year in the AFC Championship game where he caught 4 touchdowns in one game. So going into this year, fantasy-wise, you're like, well, if he can do that in one game, why can't he just do it once or twice every game? So I think it'll be really interesting to see where a player like that goes in fantasy football. How much trust are you going to put in that guy?
Not very much. Buyer beware on that one. But, who's is all over it,
I still have the Bills winning that division. And right now, I mean, we'll get to the NFC and AFC champions later, but they're definitely going to be in that mix. They had a taste of it last year, and I think this year they're going to be super hungry. But we as we go on down the line, the Jets are much improved. They had a lot of picks this year in the NFL draft, but they still need another 2 or 3 years. And Zach Wilson's now hurt. If Flacco has to start, you don't know how many games Flacco is going to start. If he starts 4 to 6 games, they may be on 6. So, everybody, I think the Jets are kind of hot going into the season, but that division's still pretty good. I mean, the Patriots are the Patriots. They got Belichick still, and the Dolphins brought in some talent. So there's no way if the Jets don't finish last in that division. I mean, I'm not trying to bash them, but if they get second or third, I'd be shocked.
Yeah, I mean, Dolphins are kind of interesting to me. I think from like a whole team standpoint, the talent level is pretty outrageous, but the quarterback Tua, I mean, I don't know if he's got it or not. I mean,
this is the year, and we saw the Tom Brady tampering. They got slammed for that. So the Dolphins they're in a hole right now. Yeah. They got a new coach. I mean, they got some things to figure out, and that's I'd be embarrassed that'd be a hard team to root for if I was a fan of the Dolphins. I would not be happy with them right now.
No way. Well, dude, let's touch base on is the AFC South okay with you?
Oh, what do you think about the Pats? You like the Patriots at all this year?
They're okay. Like, I'm not gaga. I think they're going to be a solid team.
But there's a team that's going to give the Bills a push.
Yeah.
I think the Patriots.
I mean, the Patriots could sneak into the playoffs as a wild card, in my opinion. But, I see them finishing 2. I just don't like – I mean, you got the Bills at top, but other than that, I'm not like too gaga over the division with the Jets and Dolphins. Like,
I think it's the Bills division and the Patriots have a chance to make a wild card.
I agree. Yeah. Let's see. Let's talk a little bit about the AFC South.
That's a terrible division.
This is going to be, I mean, pretty horrible right here. I think it's between 2 teams, and
Oh, I mean, they're awful. I mean, the Texans are awful. The Colts are bad. Like the Colts are good.
Colts are
Titans,
solid.
I mean, the Titans lost literally 66% of their wide receiver targets in Julio Jones and AJ Brown, and they brought in Burks, who has not looked good from Arkansas. And then they also have Woods, and Woods is like 10 years into the league, coming off an ACL. He's the wide receiver #1 there, and their quarterback is not what you would call a pure pocket passer. Tannehill is kind of he's a veteran, he's savvy, but he's not a gunslinger. And then you got the Jaguars. So, I mean, they're definitely in the bottom heap in terms of talent and, good teams in the league. They're not there. But I'll tell you what, Texans if they win 3 games this year, I'm shocked. I can't believe that Mills is their starting quarterback. And, I mean, their best player literally is Brandon Cooks.
Yeah. I mean,
that's awful.
I mean, talk about a hot fantasy target there. Brandon Cooks right there all day. But no, Texans are so bad. Like I mean, one could almost argue they're tanking for like the #1 overall pick. There's like some of the movement.
And look who their coach is.
Oh yeah. Lovey.
He has failed. I mean, he was a good coach for the Bears for a little while, that Tampa too, but it's outdated. And he has been bad every single place that he has been the last decade. He's basically gotten removed from it. Now he became the coach of a major NFL team again. And I've just scratched my head. I'm like, interesting how that worked out. I don't get that a bit.
Yeah. Talk about, there's a need for like new blood for coaching and actually front office in the NFL. The NFL is very famous for regurgitating like washed up talent at both GMs and coaching positions. But
it's all these old quarterbacks and these old managers, they're out the door. So there's definitely some new blood coming into the league. And so talk about old players on new teams. You got the Colts, who's my favorite team in that division. You got Matt Ryan over there, and he looked terrible last week. I don't know if you got a chance to watch the Colts play in preseason.
Well, I didn't get a chance to watch him, but I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass. If he looks bad in the second game, I might be a little worried. But just getting out there, getting the rust knocked off. I mean, he's with a new team, new environment. I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass, but
I think everybody is. I mean, he's always been very consistent, but never stellar.
Yeah, I mean, and right now he's got a lot of talent around him. Jonathan Taylor, Pittman, so some other guys too, and got a solid offensive line in front of him.
He got a good line, good role players.
Yeah, he'll be fine. I think. Give him a couple weeks, and I think he will probably be slinging around like 300-yard games, couple touchdowns, pretty consistently.
Yeah, it'll take him a while, but he's a veteran. He's been in the league for probably 13, 14 years. I feel like.
Yeah,
he's forever. So after that, I got the Colts winning that team division. Then I got the Titans. The Titans are not a bad team, but I just don't think they're anywhere near a top 10 team. They had their stint there for a while, and Henry's getting old, and like Eddie George is there. I think Eddie George was a stud player for 6 or 7 years, and when he got to the 7 or 8 year mark, he just hit a wall and was done. You saw it physically, and you wonder. We talked about this last year because you drafted Henry last year.
I did,
and that was one of your concerns, and it's either going to be this year or next year. I feel like, and that's what the Titans have been riding on for the last 4 or 5 years, and I just don't see that working this year because they're going to stack the box because they have no receivers.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big. I think we both agree on the Colts being the winner of this division, and frankly, I don't see how unless something really strange happens, I don't see how they can't not win the division.
I'll tell you what, though, this is my sleeper team. I think. AFC and AFC, they each got 1 or 2 teams who I think are going to really shock people. And my shocker this year is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I say that because Doug Peterson got wronged in Philly. And if you remember, if you go back, when Carson Wentz had that one MVP type of year right before he got hurt, that was his second year. Now, so this is Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence is, yeah, I wish. They wish. Trevor Lawrence's second year with the Jaguars. The Jaguars spent a historic amount of money on free agency, and they brought in the guard from the Redskins. They got Kirk from the Cardinals. They spent I think $270 million in free agency. They had a decent draft. They're not really a bad team. Myers last year was hilarious. Everybody knew that was just going to be a disaster, and it was a laughing stock. It blew up in their face.
Yeah, I think I said that on the pod here. This is terrible. But
look at the division's not very good. So I think because of that, if Lawrence takes that step forward with some of this new acquired talent, the Jags, they're not going to go to the Super Bowl, but I think they have a chance to make a wild card push, and that would shock people, I think.
Oh, that would definitely shock people. And to be honest, I don't find that to be too far-fetched either. I mean, we were talking about King Henry with the Titans. I mean, if he goes down this year, I mean, who the heck do the Titans have? I mean, nobody at receiver, nobody at running. I mean, they don't have anybody.
The Jaguars also get their running back, running back. So I don't know how good he's going to be. I saw him play in Clemson a lot, but a running back is a dime a dozen, like you say, and I don't know how the Clemson talent will translate over to the NFL level.
Who knows? But yeah, I could easily see the Jaguars finishing second in that division. I don't know. We'll see how it all kind of unfolds. Titans better hope King Henry stays healthy. That's for sure.
Well, that's all they have.
That's right.
And then we got the West.
I was going to say, let's get to the meat of the AFC, the little West action. Man, that is one. I think this is the toughest division in the NFL. Period.
I think it's more than that. I think that's the best division in the last 20 years.
It might be. I mean, they are stacked. I would hate to be a fan of any of the teams in the division.
That's a meat grinder, and I think I really like several teams in that division. The one I like the most right now is the Chargers for multiple purposes and reasons. They have consistency, a young quarterback. They have Khalil Mack and Bosa on both ends. They just signed their safety today, Derwin James, to a $76 million contract. That team's loaded. That's a meat grinder. So those teams could literally just beat each other up, win 10 games, and then go to the playoffs and be so beat up by the time they get to the playoffs. A team like the Bills is going to come in and just knock them off.
I know. I mean, Bills are one of the luckiest teams I've ever seen.
Don't tell Gatos that. He disagrees.
But no, joking aside, I agree. It is a meat grinder. And I like the Chargers. They probably have the most talented team in that division, but I mean, every single team is solid. Even the Raiders this year. I mean,
I could talk about that division for almost half an hour because it's everything in that division is kind of epic. Look across, you got Adams, you got Russell Wilson, you got Kansas City, Tyreek Hill leaving. I mean, Kelsey's 36 years old. I mean, that's going to be so much fun to watch, though.
Oh, yeah. I think for a while the Chiefs kind of ruled that division, and then with Hill leaving, believe it or not, I think Hill leaving kind of brought the Chiefs a little bit closer to everyone. I think, like you were mentioning, the additions of Adams, yes, Adams, the Raiders, also the Chargers additions that they made. Everybody's kind of leveling out a little bit more. So,
I mean, I think the division's up for grabs. Like I said, that's going to be a meat grinder. If somebody gets hurt, that's all it's going to take. And we can be talking in a month from now and look at each other like, oh my gosh. I mean, I think last 2 years, the first 2 weeks of NFL season, it just gets so lopsided after the first 2 weeks. You're like, oh my gosh, somebody gets hurt. And running back, I mean, the Barkleys get hurt all the time.
No, I agree. And I mean, really, I even touched on the Broncos. I mean, you got Russell Wilson coming in town, and
they're hot. I know a lot of Broncos people. For some reason, there's a lot of them in DC. And actually, where I watch football, they have a little fan club there, and I talk to them every now and then. They are high hopes. They think they have a chance to win it all this year. And I'm like, simmer down. Mm-hmm. But if I had to pick another team in the AFC that can make some noise, I mean, they have a great defense. Chubb's really got to come into his own element and kind of take control of that team with Miller leaving. And I think Kansas City is going to take a step back. They're not bad by any stretch of the means. I just don't think Juju Smith-Schuster's really going to pan out. He may have some good stats, but he's no Tyreek Hill. And I think they're really, I mean, look at the Raiders. I mean, is Josh Jacobs going to turn into this, 17-game tailback that can put together a full season? He's really good when he's healthy.
Yeah.
But, maybe Devontae Adams can stretch that defense. So if I had to take a team, I'm taking the Chargers to win that one. And my shocker is I'm taking the Broncos to get second.
I agree with you on the Chargers. I think they're just too stacked. I think I think they've kind of like supplanted all the teams, and maybe they might be the most stacked team in the league, actually, I think, even more than the Bills. So I got them winning. Coming in second, believe it or not, I think I'm going to go with a little surprise here and go with the Raiders, actually.
I mean, it's epic when you say that, because we're not even talking about KC, either of us. I mean, that just shows you the depth of that division. It's scary.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think the addition of Adams to the Raiders, Carr's never been a bad quarterback. He's just never been an exceptional quarterback. Now, does that mean he's never had an exceptional receiver? I don't know. But maybe Adams makes Carr a little better, and vice, they have a good rapport from Fresno State.
They're loaded. I mean, they got Waller, who's a beast, and they got Hunter Renfrow. I mean, he's a nice little slot receiver. So, like you said with Tua, there's no more excuses with the Raiders and Carr. And I think if the Raiders and the Dolphins just kind of have a very subpar to average year, they're going to be looking at new quarterbacks.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I will be kind of curious when like the Chargers play the Raiders, if like Khalil Mack just goes off for like 10 sacks in that game, though.
I think Khalil Mack, he was very inconsistent with the Bears. He had a lot of injury problems. But I think if you put him beside Bosa and on a good team, and where the defense is not going to be gassed all the time, if you can just have him do what he's good at in rushing the quarterback, he could have an MVP season.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, Grizz, man, like I just was kind of like looking at the time. We were actually running out a little time. And I wanted to dive into the NFC, but I think we might try to save that for another pod, if that's all right with you.
That sounds good. Yeah, and we can talk football all night, you and I. So, so much football. The Bears are on tomorrow night, and hopefully nobody gets hurt. Supposedly they're not going to play their starters, but a few series, and as bad as they are, I don't know if I agree with that. But it's always fun to talk some football. We're, that's a few weeks away. The Ashland Cup is actually so the Ashland Cup is the Smoke Fest Thursday, and then the first two rounds are Friday night.
No, well, if someone's in town, we might go out Thursday, but the plan is golf on Friday afternoon. Then we're gonna do dinner, I believe, at the Grandover, followed up by like the first couple rounds of the draft. Woohoo! And then we'll have Smoke Fest that night at the Grandover, I believe.
Okay.
Cocktails will be flowing.
Miss Commish will be relieved. She doesn't have to cook or do anything this year.
I hope not. I mean, Drill's got this plan though, like a Swiss watch. I'll be very impressed once we get out there. I'll be pretty happy.
Well, then one of the rumors is Al Murphy can't make it.
I'm not buying that until I'm not buying that until the day of the draft. And if he's not,
the rumor is I heard he's caught stalking Ric Flair. Maybe he's still in jail.
Well, that I believe. that is highly possible.
LTD. Yeah, he's a man, a myth, a legend.
Hey, the league's got it. I mean, it's 20th year. LTD's got to be there.
I can't believe it. I think he's yanking our chain. I mean, he teased us all last year with the Nature Boy, and I can't imagine he won't show up. It'd break our hearts.
It would. I mean, I fully expect him to like come landing with a helicopter or something, and like stepping out with like Ric Flair himself.
He's always up to something.
That's right. Well, dude, I'm going to let you go. And thanks for joining the pod. And hopefully we'll get another pod going and we can hit up the NFC and trash that.
Well, the AFC, I think, is much better off. I think if you compare before we get off, the AFC is, in my opinion, got about 8 solid teams. And I look at the NFC, I see about 3. So it's very lopsided. It happens from time to time.
It does. It does. Well, until next time, Grizz, it was a pleasure joining the pod and look forward to seeing you in the GBO for the 20th.
All right. One more week. Yes, right. Rock and roll, guys.
All right, man.
All right, go
Later.
Good.
Woo, that was riveting stuff. I mean, the in-depth takes the Grizz has on the NFL. It's like better than ESPN, man. If you want to know anything about the NFL, we'll try to get them more on. And as the season goes, I think having a little Grizz corner, back in the day, he used to do Grizz TV, and his producer failed him miserably. It's terrible. But now we got some more professionals working with them, and we're gonna do a little Grizz corner, little NFL talk for all those NFL fans out there. Can't wait for the Bears season to start, let me tell you that. You'll see the Grizz probably drinking more and more as the pods go on. But yeah, let's get back to fantasy and the 20th Ashland Cup. Guys, it's coming. It's right around the corner. Grandover. Huge shout out for Drill. Huge for putting this all together. We got the itinerary. Black tie optional. I might paint a tie black. But we got golf on Friday for those joining Grandover. Not $90. That's all it takes for like a glorious day out on the links with the king himself, because I will be there. Probably go for par, maybe one under if I'm feeling like it. Then we got some smoke fest starting at 7 p.m. It says open bar, but I don't know if that's accurate, because the king will crush an open bar. But that's from 7 to 11. Some heavy hors d'oeuvres. That is from 7:15 to 9. That's great. King loves it. And then Southern Sweet Station. I'm not sure. I'll have to Google that. Sounds amazing. It has the word Southern in it. Loving it. If it goes on, let's see, we got festivities. Hit the wrong button. Festivities, 8:15 award ceremony. I can't wait. I don't think I'm winning anything. But there's gonna be some someone's gonna get the broke back. I'm pretty sure that's a worst pick. I think I'm safe for that. I definitely don't have the best pick from last year's draft. Looking forward to the ring presentation. I hope the Grizz does something special for first and goal. I love the rings. I got a couple. Those are my pride and joy. Let me tell you, they're in the safe deposit box. Gatos won 5 championships, got 0 rings. That's the way it should be. Let's see. Then we got main event starting at 9, round 1 and 2 of the Ashland Cup draft. Unbelievable. Let's see. We got then we got some food and drink on Saturday, 11:30, 12:30. The Ashland Cup draft starts at 12:30 to 3. I hope it goes pretty quick. Usually doesn't, but you know what? I'm very excited about this. I'm going to try to, it's at the Grandover. I'm going to try to squeeze in a little spa action also. If I can. got to be fully relaxed for that Saturday draft. Let me tell you, rounds 3 through 17, brutal. I would not. That is not for the average man. I mean, we take it seriously at the Ashland Cup. 17th round pick, so crucial. Well, guys, I look forward to seeing everyone at the draft. It is going to be amazing. And tune into the pod. I'll try to be getting more pods out there, a little bit more consistent, actually. And I'm hoping Nate Gate comes back from Denmark. Here's nice over there. He might stay. But just remember, we're right when Nate's here, and you're wrong. All right, guys. See you at the draft.